Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today we continue to look at decks built around the legends from the new Warhammer 40k Commander pre-constructed decks. At the head of today's deck is the Izzet Tyranid Commander, Ghyrson Starn, Kelermorph. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. I've been very happy with the growth this channel has had so far, and I'm excited to see where we're going. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. One of the tiers is specifically set up for Commander. For only $25, I will build you a custom Commander deck based around your specifications, and even do a deck video on it. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Ghyrson Starn Kelermorph is a 3-mana 3/2 legendary Tyranid human with Ward 2. He also says that whenever another source we control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent or player, Ghyrson Starn Kelermorph deals 2 damage to that permanent or player. So we're building a Prodigal Sorcerer deck, right? Afraid not, gentle viewer. I've already built one of those, and it's hilarious. I'll post a link to the video in the upper right-hand corner. Today's video is a Storm deck. Our goal to win with this deck is to cast a whole bunch of spells in a single turn, then cast Grape Shot and kill all of our opponents. And we can't do it with damage doublers, because then Ghyrson Starn Kelermorph won't trigger. So what are we wanting? We want lots of cantrips, some ways to recast our spells, mana reducers, card advantage, and a lot of interaction. Our opponents aren't going to like what we're doing and will try to stop us, so we'll need ways to ensure we're free to do what we want. But before we get to our deck list, we should keep in mind our checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Let's start with our lands. We're running Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Reliquary Tower, Steam Vents, Storm-Carved Coast, Training Center, Sulphur Falls, Volatile Fjord, Molten Tributary, Temple of Epiphany, Izzet Guildgate, Silver Bluff Bridge, Prismari Campus, Swiftwater Cliffs, Scavenger Grounds, Myriad Landscape, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, 7 Islands, and 5 Mountains. Our mana ramp can be broken up into 4 different categories: cost reducers, rituals, mana rocks, and accelerants. Our accelerants consist of Burgi, God of Storytelling, Runaway Steamkin, Stormkiln Artist, and Dockside Extortionist. Our mana rocks consist of Mox Amber, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Creativity, Izzet Signet, Sky Diamond, Fire Diamond, Mind Stone, and Felwar Stone. Our rituals consist of Desperate Ritual, Pyretic Ritual, Seething Song, Jeska's Will, and Dramatic Reversal. Finally, our cost reducers consist of Goblin Electromancer, Rowan Scholar of Sparks, Sapphire Medallion, and Ruby Medallion. For cantrips, we've got Ponder, Gitaxian Probe, Brainstorm, Opt, Consider, Faithless Looting, Preordain, Serum Visions, Thrill of Possibility, Expressive Iteration, Thought Scour, Chart a Course, and Careful Study. As a Storm deck, we want to run a lot of cantrips. They're mostly here to up our Storm count. Finally, though it's not technically a cantrip, it does serve the purpose of upping our Storm count: Grinning Ignis. Our card advantage, which is different than cantrips, serves to keep our hands full, or to find the cards we're looking for. Windfall and Wheel of Misfortune serve as wheels, while Underworld Breach lets us play cards from our graveyard. Imperial Recruiter may look out of place in a deck like this, but it can tutor almost any creature in our deck. Dragon's Rage Channeler both fills our graveyard and filters away unwanted cards. Archmage Emeritus is dangerous in a deck like this, where our goal is to storm off. We've also got a Mystical Tutor to find win cons, Paradoxical Outcome leads to explosive turns and massively ups our storm count. Frantic Search belongs in all storm decks. And Teferi's Ageless Insight turns all of our cantrips into card advantage. For spot removal, we've got Abrade, Snap, Resculpt, and Reality Shift. Our counter magic package consists of an Offer You Can't Refuse, Negate, Counterspell, Mana Drain, Arcane Denial, Narset's Reversal, and Commit Memory. For board wipes, we're running Cyclonic Rift and Blasphemous Act. We're going to be casting a lot of spells with this deck, so to help deal as much damage as possible, we're running Reckless Fireweaver, Kessig Flamebreather, and Electrostatic Field. Any one of them would be perfect to enchant with a Quicksilver Dagger. To go along with the Quicksilver Dagger idea, we're running Prodigal Sorcerer, as well as Niv Mizzet Parun. But the two best creatures in our deck are probably Geolectrode and Thermo Alchemist. Finally, Mind's Desire to up our storm count even further, and Grape Shot as our win con. Now, let's take a look at our deck and compare it to our checklist. 52 mana sources split between 30 lands and 22 mana sources. 10 pieces of card advantage plus 14 more cantrips. 11 pieces of interaction. 2 board wipes. 2 pieces of graveyard hate. 1 sudden I win card in Grape Shot. So our deck checks all the boxes and is a ton of fun to play. While building this deck, I had to remind myself of a few things, and I wanted to share those thoughts with you. Please remember that cantrips are not card advantage. A cantrip only replaces itself. The main reason you want to run cantrips in a commander deck is to continuously trigger permanents that care about casting or copying spells, or to up your storm count. The other advantage cantrips have is that for every 2 cantrips you're running, you can replace a land. Obviously, you can't run nothing but cantrips. You do need some lands, which is why this deck is running 30 lands and 14 cantrips. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Spellslinger decks, this deck plays a bit different. We are trying to cast as many spells as possible with only a couple of payoffs in the deck, namely Thermo Alchemist, Geolectrode, Niv Mizzet Parun, and Grape Shot. Ideally, we want to win with Grape Shot, but that might not always be possible. Mind's Desire is mostly in the deck to up our storm count. I know that copying our spells doesn't up our storm count, but since Mind's Desire allows us to potentially cast a ton of spells, we still want it in our deck. I also mentioned Grinning Ignis as being one of the key cards in our deck. If we have Burgi on board when we cast Grinning Ignis, we can return it to hand and then recast it an infinite number of times. We can also do it with a Runaway Steamkin, but that takes a bit of setup to pull off. It is possible to build this deck with much cheaper spells, cheaper lands, different mana rocks, etc. But where's the fun in that? I know I've had a lot of more expensive decks recently, but don't worry budget fans, Wednesday's video will be much more budget friendly. Now, the only way to get Ghyrson, Starn, Kelermorph is through the Warhammer 40k pre-constructed deck Tyranid Swarm. I always encourage people to buy sealed products from their local game store, but not everyone has that option. So if you're unable to shop at your local game store for whatever reason, I've included a link to purchase the deck on Amazon down in the video description. Are you building Ghyrson, Starn, Kelermorph? What's your budget? What about the rest of the legendary creatures from the Warhammer 40k decks? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons, Jiraiya, Waffles, Muffins, Casey, Danny, Nick, Marcus, Black Dragon, Phoenix of Ice, and Daniel. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander deck videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or you can click here to watch additional videos. Also, if you're a fan of anime and manga like I am, feel free to check out my other channel, Musings by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.